As always, the biggest story of the day, the one that's going to be the headline the next morning on India Upfront. Viewers, a big day in the Supreme Court. A bench led by Chief Justice of India, UU Lalit, has asked the centre to make its stand clear on the Contentious Places of Worship Act enacted in 1991 by the Congress government of Narasimha Rao. The centre has been given a maximum period of 2 weeks to clearly place its stand before the top court. Most critically, during the hearing, for the first time, the centre's lawyer, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, has let his mind be known on his stand on the Places of Worship Act of 1991. The act was brought in to bar Hindus from making claims upon Kashi, Mathura, among other disputed sites where their places of worship have either been desecrated or built over in successive waves of settler colonization. In the course of the hearing on scrapping this law, the Solicitor General disagreed with those that claim that the Ayodhya judgment had upheld the sanctity of the Places of Worship Act, and therefore the Supreme Court need not entertain the petitions by Hindu rights groups. Now, what are these Hindu rights groups, viewers, asking for? All they want, in some instances, viewers, is access to their places of worship. As you can see, viewers, in Kashi, a mosque has been built over one of the holiest sites of the Hindu faith. It is so apparent, viewers, that it doesn't require any ASI investigation to determine what stood under this mosque. The remains of the Grand Kashi temple are very clearly visible. This was an act of desecration intended to show Hindus their place. Now, viewers, this is not the only site. The Krishna Janmabhoomi in Mathura also has been in some ways built over. Viewers, there are many, many more temples such as these. Now, when a law that forbids Hindus from accessing their places of worship is passed by Parliament, I agree, viewers, that the law freezes in time claims over these disputed sites, saying that after 15th of August 1947, no religious sites status can be changed. Now, this applies across the board, but remember, overwhelmingly, it dents or affects the prospects of the Hindu community the most, because the Hindus are in a majority in this country. And settler colonialists specifically singled out Hindu places of worship more than others. So, viewers, how can, in a secular nation, the rights of one community be seconded to the rights of other communities? And this is fundamentally where the problem lies. And those that don't want to grant Hindus the right to access their places of worship are saying that the Ayodhya judgment that came out a few years ago, viewers, the 5-judge bench, actually upholds this Places of Worship Act that was promulgated in 1991 by the Congress government of PV Narasimha Rao. Well, the bench today asked the government's lawyer to opine on the issue, and Tushar Mehta said that the Supreme Court's remarks in Ayodhya case are not relevant to the present hearing on the petitions filed by Hindu activists seeking to reclaim disputed places of worship like Kashi and Mathura, along with several others. Viewers, Mehta's views may indicate the stand that the centre may end up taking in the top court on or before October 31st. But let me tell you first, viewers, what the ecosystem has devised to block Hindu claims over their places of worship. So many stratagems. It enacted, viewers, the Places of Worship Act, 1991. The act barred Hindus from reclaiming Kashi, Mathura. Claimed Ayodhya verdict upheld the Places of Worship Act in 1991. And there on your screens, UU Lalit says, let's go back to that once. UU Lalit asks, as the Chief Justice of India, what is your personal view regarding the impact of Ayodhya judgment on this challenge to overturn the Places of Worship Act? Tushar Mehta says it may not be covered by that. And he elaborated in a few more sentences. Now, viewers, let's have a very quick look at the arguments of the two sides. The petitioners, the Muslim side, the court, etc. Now, you will all remember, viewers, that this entire matter has been brought up before the Supreme Court by Dr. Subramanian Swamy, and I want to bring him in first because he's one of the main petitioners. Now, Dr. Swamy, the first question to you is this, that you are someone who is stoking communal passions, that's what is said, by wanting to revisit these claims, these cases of Kashi and Mathura, that you will create in some ways communal strife. So what is it that you are, sir, arguing, and why is it that you are bringing this claim forth now?
Thank you. First of all, congratulations. Your introductory remarks were very good, very concise and accurate, and I think it will help the audience to put the matter in perspective. See, the issue is these are not new demands. It's not also a new demand for me. This Places of Worship Act came in Parliament in 1991, and I was a member of Parliament. And of course, I was that time president of the Janata Party, and there was a separate party which had been formed called BJP. And both I and the BJP MPs walked out of the house because Narasimha Rao was refusing to consider two other things to be included, not only Ram Janmabhoomi. By the way, this bill came and got passed before the demolition of Babri Masjid. That took place on 6th of December 1992. And this was passed in sometime in July, August of 1991. Now, the key question is this. What is the claim of what I would call as the rational Hindu hardliners? I would call them hardliners, of course, because they are sticking to their guns. But I would call them rational because they've got logic. They say that only 3 of the 40,000 temples demolished is what we want restored, of which one is now being restored. That is the Ram Janmabhoomi. And 2 others, that is Mathura, Krishna Janmabhoomi temple, and the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Now, why is it that we are restricting it to 3 and not all the temples? Of course, there are hotheads. There are people who say, no, all the 40,000 temples have to be recovered. And I explained why in sobriety we should not go beyond 3, and of which now 1 is done. Actually, it was 4 in 1947, but Sardar Patel couldn't care less about anybody. So he restored Somnath temple, which is also a Jyotirling temple.
Yes.
Despite Nehru's opposition, but he was supported by the President of India, he was supported by a very large number of people, and he got it done. So from 4 we came down to 3, and then now down to 2. Now these 2 are places where God has something to do with the temple being formed. Krishna was born there, not anywhere else. There is no other claimant to Krishna being born in any other part of India or the world. So that is a unanimous view for centuries, that Krishna was born there, and the temple was built, which is Krishna Janmabhoomi temple, which was demolished on the orders of Aurangzeb, and a mosque built on top of it. I mean, that was the atrocity that was committed. And so we want that temple to be revived. It should be constructed again. Why? Because there is no other place I can go to worship the birthplace of Krishna. Just as the argument I used in Ram Janmabhoomi, which started the whole discussion in the Supreme Court after 8 years of no action on appeal from the Allahabad High Court. I brought this as a fundamental right question, that my faith says that Ram was born there, and there's no one to contradict me on this. Everybody agrees. So when I have a fundamental right to pray where Ram was born, I need to make a case to get back that land. That's how the whole proceeding started, and that's how it concluded. Yes. And to the shall I say, I would like to praise the Muslim community. They agreed, and they took 110 acres in what is now called the Ayodhya district, and they're building a lovely masjid there. Masjid is essentially not a religious structure. It is a place to read namaz. Anywhere and everywhere you go to any Islamic country, they are demolishing masjids on a regular basis to build roads. All you have to do is go to Google and type masjids or mosques being demolished by various governments. Right. And they'll give you their lists fully, and which I had presented to the Supreme Court also. So the Muslim community cannot say, oh, it is equally sacred for us. It's not sacred. It's a place, it's a congregation place for reading namaz, and namaz can be read anywhere. They can be read on the road, can be read on the aeroplane, and in your drawing room, etc. So to compare a mosque with a temple, in my opinion, is blasphemy, and I cannot accept it. So we are now saying only these 2, and you can build a mosque somewhere nearby. But then why not the others, which are 40,000 were demolished during the Islamic period? Why are we not claiming those? Because those are not area specific. In other words, the idol idol is sacred because of prana pratishtha puja, but the temple place where it stands is not sacred. Okay. So you can have the same murti in another place.
So
there are so many Ram temples with Ram in it, but they are not. Yes?
I want to ask you this, Doctor.
So I'm just concluding by saying. Yeah. Yes.
No, I just want to ask you, I know you made this big differentiation. You made this differentiation between the 40,000 yes. or what have you, others, and these 2. But if tomorrow the Supreme Court was to overturn or scrap the Places of Worship Act, then
yes.
potentially yes. Hindus can yes. reclaim just about every temple, isn't it?
One remark of the Chief Justice you missed. Mm-hmm. He asked me, are you saying that if these 2 are put in that category with the... See, there's a category of Ram temple being exempt. Mm-hmm. So I say that's an arbitrary decision. So you add these 2 also and let the act remain.
Okay.
The act need not be scrapped. and only that section 4 need to be, and the section 5 should be amended, and these 2 temples should also be included, that except that this applies to everybody else. And so then this problem of other temples will not come, there will be no chaos.